Hold on to your butts.
Don't move, you're surrounded by armed bastards.
What are we going to do?
Well, I say let's get out there and twat it.
Hello, welcome back to the Cabin Night Podcast. I'm Jake,
I'm James.
I'm Rob.
and in this episode we are going to be talking about ghosts, spirits, spectres and the afterlife, and a few things in between. But before we get into that, we want to invite you to get a drink, make yourself comfortable, and enjoy the discussion. So to start us off, Rob, I'm going to ask the big question. Do you believe in ghosts? And
Yes.
do you believe that deja vu is a
It's a real
supernatural phenomenon?
Yes and no. Just due to some of the experiences that I've had, I can't say they exist because I've seen something. So I can't say therefore that they are there. But with the some of you might get to a story or two later on that may explain reason why. There's things that I can't explain that have happened to me, and could only attribute it to something
Otherworldly.
otherworldly, something spectral or whatever that's caused this thing. So, yes, but no.
Yes, but also no. James.
I don't know. For me, I like to think of myself as being scientifically skeptic. There's not enough evidence either way for me. There's not enough to say, yes, here's a ghost, but there's also not enough to go, no, ghosts do not exist. So it's... For me, I feel like I need to categorically...
Categorically.
No, that's not
Categorically.
That's the one. They did that word that I can't say. No, definite. Let's go with that word. I need definite proof either way to say whether they do or don't. So I'm open to the idea. Like, there's some things that have happened to me that I can't explain. There's some things that happen to me that, while I can't explain, I think I can put a rational explanation to. But a rational theory to, rather, because obviously I don't know. But I'm sceptically open, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I suppose as much sense as anything that nobody can say for definite one way or another. I believe my own beliefs. I believe that ghosts do exist, but not in the sense that we think they exist. That ghosts exist as echoes of a life gone by. So it's not necessarily a sentient spirit walking around following its own pattern, following a new path. I think it's an echo of what that person did when they were alive.
So it's not necessarily, for want of a better term, it's not necessarily Jake walking round.
No,
It's
a recording
of,
essentially,
yeah,
a black and white recording of. Yeah.
So it's kind of links into that theory that I've read that ghosts not necessarily are kind of conscious of what they're doing, but if something very emotionally charged happens in an area, it then becomes almost like scar tissue or an imprint on the area. So that's why you feel maybe not necessarily a person, but you feel an energy, and you feel
like uncomfortable or
So okay, most things ghosts tend to get attributed to as like a murder or unlawful or unrightful killing. So that's why you tend to feel negative emotions with these things. But I suppose it could happen the other way around as well. While some places have such happy auras about them. You know, I hate that term auras, so I hate the fact I just said it. But you know what I mean? So maybe it's that kind of imprint on reality, potentially.
Yeah. Okay. The next question I'm going to ask, by rights, maybe should have its own episode. It's a big question and one that really needs some picking apart, really. But I'm going to ask it anyway. Rob, what happens when we die? Are you automatically going to return as a ghost, or is that reserved for a select few?
No, I think it, like James said, I think it depends upon not necessarily the way in which you died, but how you lived your life. If you don't think you've accomplished everything you need to do, like, I don't know, like, for example, my cousin died in January of this year, and he knew that we were having Elias before he died. Mm-hmm. Just part of him wished that he could see
being
him.
able to meet Elias. Yeah.
So knowing what he thinks of, not what he thought of Phoebe, I'm sure he would have wanted to meet him. So that would be something where he, you know, if it is in capabilities that people can hang around in this world until they get everything they want to get.
Achieve.
Does he get to come and see him at some point? Has he already seen him?
already
And
done that,
has he now passed on? Has he gone completely?
Yeah.
So yeah, I would think that not necessarily depending on how but what you've done in your life. If you have something that you feel you need to see or get done or alert somebody to, like, I don't know, let's say some like my cousin has now found out up in there that, or wherever he is, that somebody close to him or one of his friends or whatever has also got cancer, and he wants to come and try and alert him in some way, in some way.
Sort of thing, yeah.
You know, you need to, like, I don't know, comes and punches him in his stomach because he's got stomach cancer, so he wants to try and alert him. He needs to go to doctors to get this sorted out.
Some sort of marker to say.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know, but ideas.
Yeah. James, what happens when we die?
I don't know. It's a philosophical question we've asking for ages. Again, part of my Catholic upbringing, you know, I'm a lapsed Catholic, I suppose, would like me to believe that there's something next. There's a heaven, an afterlife, whatever you want, as long as it's not purgatory. There's something next, but we just don't know. I mean, it's nice to think that we don't just stop, like this is it. But by the same token, if you think rationally about it, is there anything next? Should there be anything next? So yeah, it's maybe nice to think that we kind of linger around, you know, in some form, whether it be to check up on family and friends, reliving something, hopefully something positive, you know, in our life. You know, it would be nice to think that, but I'm not sure. Again, for lack of evidence, I'm not sure what to think. But then again, I suppose we can never get evidence of that until someone invents Morse code from the other side. I don't think we're gonna ever find out, really. And that's a nice vague answer for you.
Yeah. Well, as I said, vague is all we can do in this this subject, because no one really knows for sure, do they? My own beliefs in what happens when you die, considered quite depressing, really, whenever I tell them. But I take a lot of comfort in the fact that my own beliefs are that when you die, that's just it. You're gone. And a lot of people think, oh no, because I don't want to die. I want to still enjoy my family, and I want to still enjoy doing the things I enjoyed while I was alive. But for me, once you're dead and that's that, it doesn't matter whether you're doing those things or not. You're dead, you're gone. And I do take comfort in not worrying about what's next, because I know that what's next is just that, and I won't worry about it then, so why should I worry about it now? And I know that's not for everybody, that's not everybody's way. Like Becky, for example, she wants to believe, and she firmly believes that there is something next, some sort of, not necessarily a reward as such for in the afterlife, but there must be something where you can, when you do die, you go there and you get to, something you've mentioned, maybe you get to relive happy memories, or you get to
go to the cinema of your lifetime.
Yeah.
That's a depressing film.
Yes, that's what I believe anyway. So moving on to the main part of this episode, the part I'm most looking forward to. James, can you tell me a personal ghost story, something that's happened to you, and that could be either something that has happened to you, or even if it's something that you've heard from family members or friends. I've
not had too much happen to me. I suppose one of the scariest things maybe to happen to me was while locking up work one night. Obviously we work in an old theatre type building, so it's got a lot of history to it, whether it be its own history or the history of what was on the land before. There's a lot going on there. So I remember one night locking up after a show, after the show had got out, so it was about 3-4 o'clock on a Sunday morning, going around making sure everything was locked and bolted properly. So I went up to the top floor and started locking up the rehearsal room, which has got all these great big windows that look out onto the city. And across the alleyway from the theatre is the library. So I remember going around, locking all the windows, making sure they were shut. And as I was locking one window that looks across to the library, I swear, this was about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, face of a small boy looking back at me, like stereotypical Victorian urchin, hat on, everything, just looking back at me. I was like, nope, don't like that. Not a fan of that.
Doing that.
Not a fan of that. So I kind of very quickly shut that window and carried on with my lockup. And for a good 6 months, I want to say afterwards, I was looking out that window. I was going around, just head down, just looking in the window. Wasn't even look. The building coming on fire for all I care. I was just not looking out of that window. I wasn't looking across to the other building to see if that small boy was still there. I've not seen him since, to be fair, but yeah, it wasn't a particularly pleasant experience seeing that boy looking back at me.
Yeah, the other one that I want to mention from work, because you've mentioned work already, it's actually one I don't think it's not something that I experienced. It's actually an ex-colleague of ours, Katie. She was always uncomfortable locking wardrobe, so she always used to FaceTime her sister whilst doing this lockup. And she got into the foyer just outside wardrobe, which heads to the understage, and the phone started crapping out and sort of glitching and what have you, and then cut out. So by the time that she was able to FaceTime her sister again, her sister had screenshotted what she could see on her screen, and while stood in that little foyer bit there on the understage, you could see Katie's face looking confused at the. Well, you always look confused.
Well, yes, that was just her face.
But looking sort of confused as to why the phone was sort of spasming and glitching and what have you. And behind her, over her left shoulder, was the outline of a shadow. A person, the shadow of a person, stood there right over her left shoulder in that little foyer bit down there. So that was an interesting work-related one. Rob?
The most weird work-related one for me was, so when you lock up, obviously your worktop and come down to the bottom, and there's either side of the main staircase there's a set of doors that have door closing, and they close as they close on their own, and you quite regularly get down to the next floor and you hear a door closing and you think, alright, that's the door closing that would just come through. Okay, that's fine, I'm not worried about that one. However, this particular night I'd got back down to stage door, doing whatever I was doing, sorting out the sheets, the isolating fire alarm panel, whatever it was. I heard one of the doors on probably what I would imagine would be a second floor. Just the first floor's different, it's a single door, double door. So I heard the door go and I thought, that's a bit strange. There's nobody else in it. So I just shouted up just to make sure. I'd locked all the dressing rooms, so unless somebody had hidden in the toilet or something like that, I was pretty happy that I was on my own. I'm pretty certain I wasn't, but I'm pretty happy that I was on my own. Shouted up, hello, anybody in? Nothing. And then I heard the footsteps across the landing. Just walking across. And then the other door slammed shut. Now that, again, draft.
Maybe.
What makes the footsteps?
Yeah.
That's the creepy bit.
Yeah.
The two doors are bad enough, and
You could argue that's something, but
maybe they've not closed quite properly, and it's just took a little bit of time longer than the rest. But the footsteps across freak me out.
I can imagine.
Alarm set gone.
yeah, I don't care what's happening now. I'm out of this building.
Peace out.
Interesting. Did you have another one?
Oh, I have another one from work. The other one was one of the jobs we also do in the building is obviously taking out seats, so wheelchairs can come in. So I was doing that one day, and I was doing it. Well, I was doing it leisurely. Let's put it that way.
Skiving.
Well, again, you trained me, so you know if I learned to skive from you,
From the best.
from the best man. Side note: one of the first things you did on one of my first shifts was show me where everyone keeps the biscuits. You went, and there's where the good biscuits are.
Hey, front of house might listen to this, you know.
They don't keep biscuits anymore. Buy more biscuits. Anyway, what was I talking about? Ghost. So in the building, taking the seats out for the wheelchair, and I thought, you know what, I've got some time to kill. There's not much else to do. Well, if there was, I couldn't be asked to do it. So I decided, I'm going to sit here for a bit. So I sat enjoying the nice empty auditorium. I'd say I was there for a good 5-10 minutes, not moving, just sat in one of the seats. I was just enjoying the silence, and then I think about a couple of rows behind me, the very distinctive noise of a chair flicking up, as if someone had stood up. Because obviously theatre seats are designed to be in an upright position, and then you pull them down. They're sort of on springs, I imagine, but they're designed to stay up, so unless you sit on them. So it was as if a weight had just been released from it, so it snapped back up. And I distinctly heard, faint, admittedly, but they were definitely there, footsteps walking away from me, as if it was walking to one of the exit doors on the other side. So that was definitely creepy, because there's no way that chair could have flicked up. There's no way. Flick down, maybe if like one of the things had failed or something. Because they do that every now and again. They do fail.
But again, it's a different sound.
Yeah.
Down to going up.
That's what I mean. But if it had been the other way around, what I'm saying, I'd always go, well, he must have been this and that. But the fact it flicked up, to me, is a kind of a that's a.
There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, there's something here. There's someone or something here. Yeah, definitely.
During Woman in Black, was it?
No, it was long before Woman in Black. Oh God, I had to build up the courage to walk around. In fact, did I send you 2 pictures of me sitting at the side of the stage going, oh, there's the nursery. There's
Yeah,
the,
you did.
There's the chair.
In fact, yeah, I think that's what it said. Nope.
Just nope. I mean, yeah, I meant to book that week off work. That went well, didn't it? In fact, as a because you're a bastard, did you put me on 3 nights that week or something like that?
You did, didn't you?
You put me on like 3 nights that week.
That was brilliant.
I was going to put you on 3 and you on 3 just to be...
Just, I think I said to you, if one of you two do something, if you get stabbed, it's your own fault. I will plead extenuating circumstances. Although there is something very less dramatic than seeing the Woman in Black just wandering backstage with a fag, having a cup of tea. Kind of takes that horror element out of it, I will be honest.
Yeah.
Although I wish someone had saved that video of when she walks front of house and the duty manager, I won't say her name, but the duty manager didn't know she was there, so she turned around to do one back and almost shit herself. As this woman, again, just casually strolling through front of the house in all the Woman in Black garb. Yeah, God bless her.
I'm gonna tell you a couple of stories from my previous workplace, and then we'll move on to you, Rob, because I believe you've got another one.
That is not a work related.
No,
A work-related one. So, so I used to work in a place. One of my first ever job actually was in a pub, pulling pints and collecting glasses, as you do.
What else do you do in a pub?
Empty the glasses.
Empty the glasses, but not when you're working. But yeah,
You worked in the wrong pubs then, mate.
and the night in question, it was around Christmas, so it was very busy in the bar, and the noise did carry down into the cellar. I was down in the cellar changing a barrel, and I could sort of explain this away by saying the noise did carry down. But I was down there changing the barrel, and there's a good distance between the bar and the cellar. I should mention the pub I used to work in actually was the old courthouse for the area. People were sentenced to death there. They weren't hung there, as a lot of sort of local legend seems to suggest. They were actually hung on the tree at the top of the car park, which was terrifying to walk past at 3 o'clock in the morning.
It doesn't still have the ropes, does it?
No. It does have the marks where the ropes used to be.
Oh,
I'm making
oh, right. So that's grim.
It's many years since that happened, so. but that was definitely the tree that was used.
Wow.
But yeah, so I was down in the cellar on this particular occasion, and I was changing the barrel, and I heard somebody whistling. Now I would say that the whistling was too close to be coming from the bar upstairs, but not quite close enough for me to be certain of that. And it was a very tuneful whistle. It wasn't one that it weren't a particularly scary thing to hear, really, because it was nice and tuneful, like what an old bloke might sit on the end of a bar whistling. I turned round all the same because it felt quite close, but there was nothing there, and I finished up what I was doing and went back upstairs. Didn't really think any more of it until a couple of weeks later when I was working just after New Year, so a notoriously quiet time in the pub, the estate pub calendar. I got 2 customers in, and they were sat over the other side of the pub, and a barrel went downstairs, so I went down into the cellar to change the barrel, and the noise I heard on that occasion was a whistle again, but it was over my left shoulder. Like, it was literally, I feel like that whistle was meant for me. It was whistled in my ear, and whereas before the whistle was quite tuneful, this whistle was a short, sharp, like somebody might be calling a dog back to heel, that sort of thing, and it was right in my ear. And I've never run up a set of stairs so fast in my entire life. Like I say, again, it could have come from upstairs. I highly doubt it, but it was, it was enough to scare the shit out of me, basically.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. So on to you then, Rob. Let's hear your story.
Okay, so this story comes from an ex-girlfriend. It's from her mum, and it's one of them mum's best friend, sisters, uncles, aunties, cousins, 3 times removed. Let's pass this story on. So the story starts with a family living across the road from their sister. So the mum and the 2 sisters live across the road from each other. So when they first moved in, as you do when you move in, you start laying out the house how you want it. And little bits happen, like they'd move a sideboard, and when they came back, they'd go out and it'd come back and it'd got put back in the place it was before. And little bits like that. And, oh, that's a bit strange. But maybe somebody's just maybe we all haven't been at, maybe husband shifted it or whatever. Whatever it could be. They tried to explain it away. Lots of little things happened like that. Plates were moving and cupboard doors were opening and stuff like that. And they were kind of not great, but I'm not so sure what it is. And then this is the only bit of the story that I feel is a little bit, I've seen too many horror movies. One night in particular, the mum woke the husband by tapping him on his leg or his arm or whatever, trying to get his attention. When the husband woke up and looked, his wife was 2 foot off the mattress, much like Dana in Ghostbusters. That sort of thing.
There is no Dana.
There is no Dana, only Zool. She was claiming to be being strangled. I'm not saying that she wasn't, but I just find that little bit, it's a little bit too Hollywood, a little bit too made up in that respect. That sort of thing you do see in a horror film. So that freaked him out, and they had the house blessed. They didn't immediately call Father, whatever he's called from Exorcist, whatever he is. They didn't.
Father Brendan.
Yeah, they didn't call Father Brendan in. They just had the house blessed, and things did calm down for a while, and then they got far worse. So the son, she had 2 sons, and I think he was the elder one. At the time, I'm not going to say his name, but we shall call him Steve. He was in bed one night in the bunk beds, the old metal bunk beds where you can, they're all iron all down the sides, little iron bars all the way down the sides and at the bottom, and you climb into them via a ladder. So one night he's in bed and he can hear this noise, and it's a woman shouting, "Steve, Steve, Steve." And half asleep, he kind of wakes up and looks round expecting his mum to be there. And there's nobody in his room. He looks down. His brother's still in bed. He's not heard out. He's not woke up. All right, fair enough. He looks down at the bottom of the bed. And the only way I can describe it is like The Shining. When he bursts through the door and you get the "here's Johnny" bit, but his hands would be on the bars. And there's a woman like trying to push her head through the bars. Just shouting him. To which he bolted up into his mum and dad.
Don't like that.
He won't have it, any of that. So they thought, we're not carrying on with this, we'll put house up for sale. So they put house up for sale, and they lived there for another, I don't know what sort of time frame it was, weeks, months. I don't think it was a year. But that seemed to be the end of it. Once the house was up for sale, it was almost like this ghost woman had won. Like all the stuff kind of died down, except for one day, and this is depending on, either that bit was the worst bit or this bit, depending on how your mind works. So as you went in the house, the front door was by the stairs. You turn right and there's 2 stairs up, all your stairs upstairs, and then another 2 stairs to go up to the landing. So Steve was sat on the bottom of the main staircase on the phone to his mate at school, whatever. He just got in from school, he's on the phone to his mate. And again, he hears, "Steve, Steve, Steve." And he thinks, "Oh no, okay, no." And there's a mirror at the bottom of the stairs, and he looked in the mirror, and leaning round the side of the wall from the landing was this woman waving to him, shouting his name. He phoned down and bolted it across the road to his auntie's house. And she comes back over with him because he was visibly upset. He's saying, "Look, she's up there. I can see her. She's shouting my name." And his auntie said, "Steve, there's nobody there."
Not pleasant. Not pleasant.
Needless to say, that was the final straw. They moved into the sister's house or the auntie's house for the rest of the time until they could find somewhere. And one day, the mum was walking home from work, I assume, or wherever she'd been. She just happened to glance across at the house. When they moved out, they'd whitewashed all the windows and so that nobody would try and get in or anything. And when she looked at the house as she was passing it, she noticed 2 handprints on the inside, so it'd be visible because the thumbs would be the other way if it was kind of on the outside. So 2 handprints, like hands pressing on the window, and then a face pressed up, like almost a half face print pressed up against the window, almost like something was looking at her out of the window.
No.
Like I say, it's a story that's been passed to me through an ex, so I don't know how true it is. But yeah, it still freaks me out even telling it to this day.
Not a pleasant story. Not a pleasant story, that one.
No.
Creepy.
So I'll quickly tell a funny ghost story. So when I worked for Alton Towers for a little bit in their Scarefest event a few years ago, and I was actually based in the towers themselves, which is the old Gothic ruins, and I was in one of the scare mazes dressed as a ghost because the original outfit they had for me didn't fit. It didn't fit, so I ended up being a ghost for reasons. And the rooms are all, full of lots of random props, full of smoke, full of music, full of lighting, really atmospheric, really really fun. But it's one of those walk-through mazes you kind of conga line as you go through, and we jump out and go boo. Great. So we were there for a few weeks.
I want to go to that scare maze.
Boo. Really camps. Boo. So we were there for a few weeks, and there were lots of... Yeah, at weekends it was quite busy, but during the week there was lots of downtime. You could wait in 10-15 minutes for the next group to come through, so it was a lot of time on your hands. So we were just kind of walking around from room to room, and a few, once or twice, someone would go, "Oh my God, I've just seen a ghost over there." "Oh, what, where?" "Oh, over there between those boxes." "Oh, damn, I didn't see it, I just missed it. I was over there a few minutes ago as well. Oh, I wish I'd seen it." "Oh, well, no, never mind." And carry on talking and carry on doing other things. The day went by. And then the same thing would happen later. "Oh my God, I've just seen a ghost over there between those boxes over there." Somewhere else in the building. "Over there." "Oh, where? There." "Oh, I was just over there. I missed it again." Turns out after about a week of this, I was the ghost. People were seeing me walking through the rat rooms going, "All right." As I walked past, a very nonchalant...
I mean, you're doing your job very well, though.
Well, it's the calmness that unsettles you. So it was really... It was kind of like... I was in one of the most haunted places to be, and I was the ghost. I was the ghost that was haunting it. Apparently, this did lead to me scaring a producer from Blue Peter. Oh. Yes, because we were green room, I suppose, was at the top of the tower. It was basically just a room that they just put us in. I'll stay in there. Had no lights or anything, so I was just sat there chilling out. And Blue Peter were there filming some Halloween stuff, obviously for kids. And they were just wandering around the towers, and I was sat in the dark, just kind of on my break. And this producer came in, completely not paying attention to what she was doing, just kind of looked up, saw me in the corner, and went, "Fucking hell!" Almost threw her phone up in the air. Go, "Sorry, didn't mean to scare you. So I assume you swearing won't get onto Blue Peter this year." She went, "No, I don't think it will." So yes, there's my funny ghost story of me actually being the ghost.
Yeah, it leads nicely into sort of a light-hearted way to finish this episode, and that is the question: if you could come back and haunt a place or a person, who would it be, Rob?
I think, much like we said earlier on, I think I'd want to, not haunt necessarily, but I'd want to make sure that my kids are all right. On a funny side, anybody at work would have, would.
Yeah.
They would expect it of you, I
I
think.
think they would, to be fair, yes. But check my kids are all right, and then anybody that I felt like scaring at that time.
James?
So be prepared.
Yeah, I think I want to haunt somewhere like a theme park. Somewhere I can just really just, again, nonchalantly haunt people and just, get on a ride with someone kind of going, "Oh, I didn't survive this bit." Coming up, get around to, "Oh, I lost my arm here." Woo! Just scare the crap out of people. That kind of way. In the way they don't realise they're being haunted. Yeah, so somewhere...
Until a picture comes out and
I'm
nobody's
not there. Ooh. Or maybe I am. So somewhere I can not necessarily scare the shit out of someone, but just kind of maybe we'll go, "Huh? Don't like that."
Yeah, I think when you look at classical hauntings, it's always old buildings and churches
Yeah,
and
yeah.
castles and haunted broken down houses and what have you. It's like, why don't anybody haunt somewhere nice? And I think that's what I would like to do. I would like to return to a place where I have had happy memories, because it means that I then get to return to that moment and enjoy that moment. But also, if there are people there, it's far less scary to see somebody dead but come back to a ghost of a dead loved one in a happy setting. So for example, if you were both at Bloodstock and I had long since passed away, and I turned up alongside you in a Hawaiian shirt doing Ace Ventura dance to to Cannibal Corpse, it's a far less scary experience, but it's still a ghostly experience.
Fair, it depends how you died. If you were eaten by lions, you've seen this half-eaten face going.
Cannibal Corpse would be up for it.
Oh, to be fair, yeah, you'd fit in well at the Cannibal Corpse gig. Yeah.
Chewed by lions.
That sounds quite
good song.
sounds quite mild by Cannibal Corpse standards. Chewed by lions.
Chewed by lions and then shat out. That's a bit more.
There we go. Now it's Cannibal Corpse.
The lion was also a zombie.
How does a pile of shit wear a Hawaiian shirt to begin with?
Very stylishly.
And on that wonderful note, yeah, I think we'll go ahead and wrap that episode. We want to say you've been great. We have been the Cami Night Podcast. Good night.